Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. My name is Oti. I create content on sewing tutorials and turban cap. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys on how I made this luxury boubou. It is absolutely easy to make. I used two different colors of Mikado fabric mixed with damask. I posted a picture of this dress few weeks ago, and a lot of my subscribers request for the tutorial. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys the processes to achieve this style. I also made it in another color. This is a black and a red mixture. The design in front is also damasked. If this is what you would love to learn, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Please make sure to subscribe if you've not done so, because I have lots of beautiful boubou design coming your way. So without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. With me here, I have 4 yards of red Mikado fabric and 4 yards of the black Mikado fabric. Please note, if your total length of dress, including the hemming allowance, is between 50 inches to 56 inches, you can use 3 yards of each fabric. That is 3 yards of each color that you desire to mix together. But if your total length of dress, including hemming allowance, is between 56 inches and above to 60, 61, 62, please buy 4 yards of each color you desire to mix together. My fabric has been folded into 4, as you can see, and it's neatly placed on the table. This style does not have a shoulder seam. Because of the folding, this style will give me 2 dresses. The 4 yards of each color that I bought is going to give me 2 dresses. So at the center back, I'm going to split the fabric into 2, and I'm going to keep one part and work with one part. So with your scissors, you will cut it through, just like the way I'm doing. You will work with one part and keep the other part for another person or another style. If you are into ready to wear, this style favors you, because with 4 yards of each of the fabric, you can make it for 2 different people. So I'm going to remove the upper parts and work with the one on the table. So I'm going to also fold the black fabric, the black Mikado fabric. I'm going to fold it into 4 and also cut it exactly like this. I folded the black color into 4, exactly the way I folded the red. Then I'm going to lift up the first fold. I'll put my scissors in between and cut it into two, just like the way I did to the red. Just look at it, you will understand. It's very easy. You can see I lift the first fold, then I put the scissors at the middle and I cut it. The part that I'm cutting is on fold. I'm going to remove one part like I did to the red. Then I'll be working with one part. I will use the remaining fabric to make another style. Or if I have someone that make an order for the dress, I can use the remaining fabric to make for the person. This folding and these styles favor those that are into ready to wear more. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all take the fabric to my ironing table and give it a good press. When you are working with Mikado fabric, it requires lots of ironing. So I'll take it to my ironing table, I'll give it a good press before drafting my bodies. If you are working with Mikado fabric and you want your dress to come out looking very nice and professional finishing, you have to make sure that you iron every step of the process. Is very important. After ironing, place the two fabric together on the table. Make sure that the both fabrics are equal at the folded edge, then pin them down like so. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rule a straight line at the center back and the center front. Because of the cutting, that part is not equal and it's not giving me a smooth edge. I rule a straight line to cut it out so that I can have equal and smooth edge to start with. After that, I'm going to pin that part down so that when I'm drafting, it won't be moving around. The next thing to do, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches away from the center back and the center front. After that, I'm going to rule the dotted lines into a straight line. All my measurement is going to start from that line. Next thing to do, I will measure neck width 3 inches, neck depth for the back 1.5 inches, neck depth for the front 6.5 inches. Then I'll connect the necklines. Neck depth for the back 1.5 inches, neck depth for the front 6.5 inches, neck width 3 inches. From my center back to where I want the sleeve to be, I'm going to use the total length of the fabric. So I'm just going to cut out the selvage parts. I use total length of the fabric, so I just cut out the selvage parts. Then for my sleeve opening, I'm going to measure 17 inches for my sleeve opening because I'll be gathering it. Shoulder to my hip line is 25 inches and shoulder to the length of my dress is 64 inches including hemming allowance. I rule that into a straight line. From my shoulder to where I want my slit to start from is 42 inches. Shoulder to my slit is 42 inches. At my hip line, I will impute my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches. I'm going to minus 2 inches from the total length that I have because I want the dress to be pencil towards the lower part. Then I'm going to impute that at the lower part, just like the way we normally draft our pencil skirts. Whatever you have as your total hip measurement including your seam allowance, just minus 2 inches from that and impute it at the lower part. So I'm going to connect the sleeve to the hip line like so and curve that part like so. So that's about it for the drafting. As you can see, it is very easy. So the next thing I'm doing, I'm cross-checking the drafting before cutting it out. So I'm going to cut on the back neckline. As you can see, it does not have shoulder seam, so I'm going to leave the shoulder like so. I'm cutting the sleeve opening. That sleeve opening is 17 inches because I'll be gathering it. Then I cut from the hem through to the upper part. That's about it. So I'm going to remove the pins and open it up to cut the front neckline. Open it up like so. Place the black on it the same way. Pin the neckline so that when I'm cutting the front, it won't be moving around. Pin the necklines. Then I'll cut the front neckline. You can see the way I place my fabric. I'll cut the neckline following the shape. So the next thing I'm going to do, the 1.5 inches that we marked in front, I'm also going to mark it at the back. That part that I'm marking 1.5 inches is the back bodice. So after marking it, I'm going to rule that into a straight line. Then I will take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew on that line, starting from the neckline through to the lower part of the dress. I'm going to sew it straight down. I've sewn it, as you can see. So the next thing to do, I'm going to trim the seam allowance around the neckline. I'm going to trim it down a little. I'm going to explain because of the beginners in our midst. So from that stitch line, measure 1/2 inch away from the stitch line. You know we measured 1.5 inches at the back and we stitch it from the neckline through to the lower parts. So from that stitch line, measure 1/2 inch like so. Then measure 4 inches. Depth of 4 inches. Then from that 1/2 inch, slant to meet the depth of 4 inches. I'm doing this because of the beginners. I just cut it out without measuring, because I know if I cut it like that, some beginners will still ask me in the comment section, how did you measure and cut that part? So cut it out. The reason why we are doing this, because I'm going to sew facing to the neckline, so that at the center back of the neckline, the facing will be able to relax properly. So after cutting it out, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to my ironing table. As you can see, I did not fast forward this part so that you guys can see it properly. I'll take it to my ironing table. I'm going to open up the stitch line. I'll open it up and give it a good press. I'll open it up like so. Then I'll give it a good press with steam iron so that it can relax and be opened. Give it a good press so that the center back can be relaxed. So the dress is on the ironing table. I sprinkle water on it from the iron. If you don't have steam iron, not to worry. Take a bowl of water. Use your hand to sprinkle water on it like so. Then use your iron that you have. Use it to press it down. You will continue with this process till you get to the hem of the dress. This process is very important If not, your dress will not be looking nice at all. At the back, it will poke, it won't relax. You have to take your time. So I'm going to continue with this process till I get to the hem. As you can see, I sprayed water on it from the iron before pressing it with the iron. As a seamstress, it is very important that you get steam iron in case you don't have one. It gives your work professional finishing. So I'm going to skip this part because this video is getting too long already. I will use my mouth to explain the remaining process, the ironing process. I won't need to show us again because the video is getting too long. So the facing that you'll be using, that fabric that you guys are seeing on the table is my facing. Make sure that you iron it. Iron it. Once you fold it into two, that folded edge, iron it, let it be flat. It is very important. Then place the bodice on it like so. Make sure that the folded edge of the facing aligns with the center back and the center front. Pin them down and trace out the necklines. After that, iron interfacing to the facing. Pin the bodies down if necessary, then cut out the facing. So I'm going to skip this part and move to the next part. I've iron interfacing to the facing, as you can see. So what I'm doing now, I'm pinning them down. I'm pinning the facing to the bodies, to the neckline, before taking it to my machine to sew it. So after pinning the facing to the neckline, then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew half an inch round the facing. After sewing it, I'm going to notch it and top stitch. After top stitching, then I'm going to give it a good press. After sewing the facing and top stitching on the neckline, I took it to my overlocking machine and I overlock all the rough edges of the dress. I overlock it before moving to the next step. I weave the edges, as you can see. I weave the back, the edges of the back, then the edges of the facing, and the front. So the next thing to do, I'm going to take to my sewing machine. Remember the 1.5 inches mark that we made earlier. I'm going to take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew starting from the neckline like so. I will sew on that 1.5 inches mark. I will sew and stop at the mark where my slit opening will start from. I'll stop there. I'll back stitch about 2 to 3 times. Then from there, I'm going to sew gather stitches. I'll sew gather stitches till the end of the dress. I'm still going to lose that gather stitches later. So after that, I'm going to open the stitch up like so just the way we did to these back bodies. So I'll open it up and give it a good press, exactly the way we did to the back bodies. I'll do the same thing to the front. So after giving it a good press, then I'm going to lose that gather stitches. I will lose it till I get to where the slit opening for the front stop. I hope you guys understand. I've sewn it, as you can see. I also mark where the slit opening will stop, so that when I'm losing the gather stitch, I will know where to stop. So the next thing to do, I'll take to my ironing table. I'm going to iron hemming gum around the facing to hold it down, and also to the front. I'll iron hemming gum around it till I get to the hem of the dress. Then after that, I'm going to open that gather stitch. I've ironed hemming gum on it. As you can see, it's looking very nice and flat. So the next thing I'm doing, I'm losing that gather stitch. Then I'm going to stop where the slit opening will start from. Because of the steam iron that I used to press the hemming gum, the mark I made on it has cleared, but I will still know where the slit opening will start from, because I backstitch about 2 to 3 times. As you can see, I've stopped. I've reached where the slit opening will start from, so I've stopped. This is how it looks in front. Look at the neckline, looking very nice and flat. So the next thing to do is to cut out the damask fabric. So for the style that you guys saw, for the brown and the gold style, I did not even measure it. I just eyeballed the measurement and cut it out. At this stage, you can just cut out any design of your choice. I did not measure it to be truthful. I just folded fabric and cut it out like so. Show you guys see. Then I folded the edges and I place it on the front and sew it to the front bodies. But for this black color, black and red, I'm going to be doing a different thing entirely, a different design entirely. So I'm going to, I measured my bust span. I don't want it to be too wide, so I measured my bust span and I cut it out. I cut about 8.5 inches of fold. 8 inches of fold. Then the length is 15 inches. 8 inches on fold, the length 15 inches. I folded it back into 2. Then I cut it out like so. So I'm going to fold the edges and place it on the fabric and cut. So this is basically how I cut the design. At this stage, you can just be creative and cut out any design of your choice. So let me skip this part because the video is long already. I placed the pattern on the damask fabric. The fabric is on fold. I added 1/2 inch round it because the edges of the pattern is already on fold. So I added 1/2 inch round the edges of the pattern. Then I'll take to my ironing table. I'm going to fold in 1/2 inch round the edges. Then After that, I'm going to take my bodice. I'll place the damask on it in the position that I like. Then I'm going to take to my sewing machine and top stitch on it. If you are using this my design, please make sure that the pointed edge align with the center line of the front. It will make it look very nice. Then pin it down. Pin it down. Then I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to top stitch on it. I've sewn it. So the next thing to do is to sew my elastic casing. For the elastic casing, I'm going to flip the fabric to the wrong side like so. Then I'm going to fold in half an inch and fold in 1 inch and stitch it down. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side as well. Then I'll cut out my elastic and pass it through the casing. I've sewn it, as you can see. I always do this part off camera, and I'm wondering, do you guys know about this part? Anytime you are sewing Boubou, the sleeve area that attached to the bodies, the curved parts, please make sure that you always notch it whenever you are sewing anything cut together. That part that attached to the bodies, this curved part, make sure that you always notch it so that it will make it relax. This is my first time of showing this part in my tutorial, so in case you are not aware, please take note. Anytime you are sewing anything cut together, make sure that the part that connects the sleeve to the bodies, make sure you always notch it. By so doing, it will make the sleeve to relax properly and it will look fine at the right side. At this stage, I was very tired. Filming and sewing at the same time is not easy at all. So the next and final step to make, you have to open the side seam and give it a good press. The side seam, you will open it. Use your steam iron to give it a good press. You will iron it from the hem through to the sleeve area. You will do this on both sides of the dress. After that, you will overlock the sides. You will turn it to the right side, give it a good press. Then check if your hem needs trimming. If it needs trimming, rule a straight line. Measure your length from the shoulder, then rule a straight line. Trim it if necessary. Hem the lower parts with your seam allowance that you added to the bodies, either 1 inch or half an inch. And that's about it, guys. We've come to an end of today's tutorial. Please subscribe if you've not done so. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Bye.